Hello everyone, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. I sincerely hope everybody is doing well, amazingly well if possible, whenever you click on this video, no matter what time of day or night it is. Today we are going straight for messages from the Pleiadian star system. Who will you become in 2021? I have done a couple of these on this channel, but 2021 is going to be an amazing year. So I thought we could dive into and delve into some more specifics, but I'm going to link other messages from Hecate, however you say her name, for 2021. And there is a collective message or message for the collective for 2021. I'm going to link both of those down below. But today, I wanted to check in with the Pleiadian star system for all you star seeds out there, because they are the energy that have been working diligently around the clock for so long, but particularly in the last couple of years, in the ascension in the last year of 2020. So bringing in that energy today. So who will you become in 2021? Now obviously that is completely endless, and we don't want to tie you down to any version of yourself per se, just give you an idea of the sort of things and energy that's possible for you in 2021. So we have 3 piles as always, and using the Starseed deck, what I've done is I've randomly placed one on each pile here, and the first one says light. I'm not going to read out the rest of it until we get into it, but the first one says light, the second one says signs, and then pile 3 says reflection. So if any of those piles speak to you, the energy of them speaks to you, or the actual word on the card speaks to you, the energy around the word on the card, however you choose your pile, of course, is a very personal thing. But those are the piles. And of course, as always, take as much time as you possibly need, even if you need to go ahead and pause the video in order to align yourself. The more aligned you are with these readings, the more you'll get out of them. And as always, for those of you who have been here for a little while, we always set up a healing and activation candle here with this beautiful magic oil that I made many moons ago. So anything that you no longer need, any cords that you want to detach from or cut away from, you can look into the flame and release anything you no longer need. If you need a little healing or abundance or any kind of manifestation energy, you can pull that to you too. So these sessions always can be used, of course, for support, love, and as much light as you need, but also for activation and healing any way that you want to use them. So let's go ahead and get you some, I don't know, answers is the right word, get you some information, I guess. So let's move this aside. And this too. So for those of you who chose pile 1, remember we have the activation candle here, and you chose pile 1, which is the word light, and underneath it it says it is time to reveal your radiant light to the world. So that's what we are expecting, the theme for you today. It is time to reveal your radiant light to the world. We have a couple of tarot here, and then we are going to move into our Starseed deck also. Yes, the Starseed Oracle deck also. So let's work with your tarot first. Oh my goodness, you've got the stars. There you go. You got the stars card here, which of course, absolutely. And then you have the 6 of, let's see, these are the 6 of wands, the 6 of staves. Wonderful energy here. So it's the first message that we're getting for you here, pile 1, is absolutely time to move into your light. But for most of you, you already know that. It's a matter of how you're going to move into the light and the specific movement. What is your next step? Normally we say sort of go with the flow, and and all of that is great too. Let opportunities come to you, but this is a time for you, pile one, to really sort of strategize in some ways, to figure out your next step, what to move forward. And the one message that I keep getting for you is push yourself a little bit further. Like every step that you want to do, you're actually capable of a little bit more. A lot of you hold back a little bit. Now, you've done this in the past for a specific reason, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, and again, these are always general readings, sometimes you feel as though you're a little much for people. You may have been told that, you're a little intense, or this, that, and the other, or you just get the impression from people that you're a little bit too much. Now, you're actually not a little bit too much. You're exactly where you need to be. And you've always been exactly where you've needed to be. Fortunately and unfortunately, but the way in which healing works, of course, is that we often find out who we are through attracting certain types of people into our lives, so we can learn these lessons. And it doesn't excuse everything that what we've been through or how people have treated us, but unfortunately that's the way that we learn. It's always start thinking of the diamond. It's so beautiful, but it becomes beautiful because it becomes the diamond because it's under so much pressure. So you're used to downplaying or hiding aspects of yourself in order to sort of fit into certain situations. Now, we're not gonna stay on that, because you've really outgrown all of these situations. You've outgrown all of these people. 2020 for you, this is a timeless reading, but it is appearing at a certain time in our history, which is fragrant and ample, as we're going through whatever it is that we all went through individually and of course collectively in 2020. So in 2020 for you, it was a really extreme year for watching a lot of people and things fall away and also fall apart, aspects of self falling apart on an individual level, but a lot of falling away, a lot of falling apart on the individual, the collective level, and on a very personal and interpersonal level for you. So you're very used to sort of dumbing aspects of your personality down to fit in. Now, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with that, absolutely no judgment. And again, we want to reiterate that's what you needed to do in order to sort of move past some of these lessons. And one of the lessons that you had to learn is your own beauty, is to respect your own energy and to put yourself first. Now, it feels very selfish for you at times to put yourself first, and that's totally understandable. But here's the thing, when you put yourself first, what actually happens paradoxically, is that the word? Paradoxically? Yes, anyway, you know what I mean. What actually happens is that you're able to sort of gauge people as they are, see them as they are, and then a lot of compassion comes out of you in that way. So by putting yourself first, you actually become a better friend, you actually become a better person, and in that way, you actually help people more. But what happened for you in 2020 is this sort of mass exodus in a way, and some of it was quite painful, and a lot of it you realized that it had to fall away, and you really weren't seeking and running after anything. So it wasn't a year for you to run after anything. That certain things that getting into, it's almost like getting this vision of getting everything in vision and looking in the mirror and getting everything into focus. Like a lot of stuff in 2020, as you looked through sort of the lens, might have seemed a little unfocused. That's because it really wasn't a year for you to focus on one thing. It was a year for you to allow things to sort of happen. You've been working on yourself for such a huge amount of time that it all sort of came into fruition, and you got to see what that really looked like and how that looked like on the other side when you went on the other side of that healing in 2020. And even though there were times where you might have been quite confused, or some of it might have been quite painful as people and things were falling apart and falling away, you also knew that this is what needed to happen. So you didn't fight it in any way. An essence of you might have wanted to control certain aspects of it, but that's perfectly natural because what you went through was so extreme. It really fell away in such a way that it's like normally that would have taken some people 10, 15 years or a lifetime to go through. You went through all of that in 1 year. So of course, a part of you in the protection mode wanted to really control certain aspects of it, but you also knew that the controlling aspect you had to release. So that was part of the lesson, and the end of 2020 really would have put you in touch with what it's like to release and surrender, and your version of control versus alignment. This is something that you would have gotten at the end of 2020 after everything else fell away. Now, you've got this brand new beginning in 2020, right? And as you're moving forward, everything that you've wanted. Now, just because a lot of things weren't in clear focus, some things were in clear focus insofar as we said initially that, nothing really took off, or certain things did in a way, and some things were in clear focus. So it's not factual to say that nothing was in clear focus, but it only took you so far. It wasn't your year to sort of get out there and say, da-da. This is your year to do that. And this is collectively the year for most starseeds to get out there and do what they're supposed to do. But you've actually been working behind the scenes in 2020 to get yourself ready for this year in a way. And most of you know what it is that you want. This is your year for getting what it is that you want. But now you've spent so much time in this energy, an entire year, 10 months, an entire year of shedding. It's now about the collective process of putting yourself back together and moving out into the world. Now, the way in which you worked in the world was vastly different to how you're going to work in 2021. So everything that you try, as you're doing the baby steps as you first get out there, it may not take off, or it may not feel right. You might have a little bit of clumsiness and confusion. That's totally fine. You're used to dumbing yourself down because of the company that you kept. And again, these people were soul contracts. These situations had to come in and about for you to become who you are. Now, the essence of 2020 for you was really learning, not just learning, but fully integrating your soul at its best, really understanding that the power only comes from you. Now, we always say that, it's a little woo-woo, everything comes from you, whatever you put out there comes back. That we totally understand that, and we're not going to dumb down any of your light by saying all of that. But also, what does that mean, right? What does that mean? Well, you learned that in 2020. You absolutely know what that physically feels like to be grounded in your body and to know your own self-worth. You absolutely do. Now, when you get out there, you're not dumbing yourself down in any way, shape, or form. Far from it. You're actually in a position to put yourself in places, integrate yourself into places, and perform with a level of confidence that you didn't really have before. Not that you weren't confident, but you didn't allow yourself the confidence before. You were weighed down before. The lightness is giving you something that you've never had this before. You're not being weighed down. So it's about strategizing. It's about systematically saying to yourself, using this divine masculine and feminine in equal amounts, and really getting that equilibrium you've never really had before. Yes, a lot of the divine feminine. Yes, you knew, you're very passionate, absolutely know how to use action, very action oriented, but usually in the wrong way, firing off in different directions. So it's never really yielded. It's not always yielded the results that you've wanted. But this beautiful sort of coming into this masculine, divine feminine, this action that you're using and you're taking now is really secured action. And it does require you to sit down, have a little bit of a plan. Now, that plan can be as loose as you want, and you have the energy of it behind you. And of course, you have the wisdom now that's integrated fully, and the receptivity that you have that's fully integrated with the divine feminine here. So when you put out the action is direct. You know what you're doing. You can step back and let it all come to you. The one vision that I keep getting is like setting up the fireworks. All you need to do is light them, right? And let the fireworks go off. But the action is in the lighting. And that's what you're doing, lighting up the fireworks. Whereas before you would keep repositioning and positioning all the fireworks after they've been lit. That was 2020, right? If you can get like an accurate kind of portrayal of what 2020 really looked like. 2021 is knowing where to strategically put all of your fireworks, knowing that all you have to do is light them and step back and enjoy the show. So let's see what else we have here for you. So we have deep cellular healing here. Arterius energy, physical and emotional healing, it's reversed. Now this is still happening for you, but the main part of it's already done. And it says, wait, it's not time yet. Things are being woven. Now we want to be really clear here. It is a time for action, but again, it's a time for divine action. And the way in which that action comes in and about is your intuition will tell you, you'll get a little nudge. This is the right time to reach out to this person. This is the right time to do this. And again, as we said at the beginning, to reiterate, always moving forward in a direct way as you are sort of moved to call in the action. But at the same time, it's also do not dumb yourself down in how you move. If you're reaching out to somebody who you never thought you would reach out to, who am I to think that I can get a reaction from this one person? That's where we want you, because this is the level of confidence that you have, and this will wield the results that you want this year. So you're going to have meticulous action that you're going to be called to, and the action is going to be quite large when you take it. Your life has been about small action, baby steps, moving forward, strategizing in a way, but the way in which you would move forward: 3 steps forwards, 1 step backwards, 5 steps forwards, 3 steps backwards, and that's fine. In that stepping back, you needed to step back at that time to really take in all of the healing that you were doing. So you weren't actually moving backwards, but it felt like 5 steps forward, 6 steps backwards, and then moving forward. It felt like a sort of a game backwards and forwards. This is no longer, again, happening for you. So, it's about big action. And when you take that big action, listening to your intuition, listening to those nudges, whereas before what you would do is, and there's nothing wrong with this at all, and in the past, this, to various different degrees, it may have worked for you, but you would sort of fire off in every different direction and see what came back. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, to a certain degree that worked. This is not necessarily how you're being asked to work in 2021. Now, if you want to, please do anything that you want. We're never telling you what to do. But if you find yourself working that way of, firing off in every single direction, seeing what comes back, and it's not working for you as it did before, or yielding any kind of results as it did before, we urge you to sit with the divine masculine and feminine, your absolutely heightened awareness here in 2021, and take these big, bold actions, in the strategizing mode of when you're being nudged to reach out, when you feel that. And even if your mind tells you, that's a bit crazy, why are we going in this direction? Do it anyway. Because you have been working in this way. You're talented enough. You're ready to be seen. The only thing that held you back in your life before is the fact that you weren't ready completely to be seen yet. It wasn't that you weren't talented. It wasn't that you weren't worthy. It wasn't any of that stuff. You held yourself back for a certain amount of time, and that was perfectly fine. That's where you needed to be. You don't need to do that anymore. So the one thing that was sort of holding you back, and you were holding yourself back on purpose. This is, again, part of your strategy, part of figuring out who you are. So now that that's been integrated into your soul, you're no longer holding yourself back. You have the will, you have the action, you have the passion, you have the self-confidence, you really do. And now that you don't have to dumb it down, you can really utilize it the way that you want to. And you have the talent to be able to do that. Everything else was always there. If you had any doubt about your talent of second guessing, first of all, especially if you're a creative type, that will never go away. That's fine to question yourself, but it's also because you were dumbing aspects of your personality down. So of course you're going to review this at times and wonder, if you're worthy of this attention that you're not even truly seeking yet. It's almost like, you're a performer, you're on stage, but the last couple of years has been about you working behind stage and observing. This year, 2021, is about you stepping up and your dada moment. But the way in which you do it is you're going to work a lot less and gain a lot more results. But we're hopefully giving you really specific information about how that will work. Now, the deep cellular healing is still occurring. So even if this Pal 1 is resonating with you, sometimes we say, you might be at different levels. If you're not feeling at this confident level yet, and you're still kind of coming together with putting your energy first, or still feeling a little bit guilty about that, or still watching things and people fall away, and still like feeling as though you might be in the tarot moment but coming out of the tarot moment, you're not really in the tarot moment, but it feels that way. And the way in which you feel is important, because the way in which you feel creates your balance, creates your world. So that's how you feel. If you feel like you're in the tarot moment, then that's how it feels. That's what's going on, right? Objectively, you're going to come out of this a lot quicker. It's not really a tarot moment, but it will feel like that. So if you're not in the confident moment yet, and you still feel like you're in the tarot moment, we want to encourage you to remember your self-worth and know that you are deep cellular healing. Sometimes when the deep cellular healing goes on, it goes right into the source, which means that some depression can come up, some anxiety can come up, to the point where you can feel like you're physically breaking apart, your mind is breaking apart. If you're in this extreme part of what's going on, we want to just gather as much light as we can for you and just hold you in that, knowing this too shall pass. Absolutely promise you, this too shall pass. You are here to do your work. You know what that is. You absolutely are a light. And it just means that at a deep cellular healing, this is happening. And while this is being exposed and healed, it may feel uncomfortable. Again, we want to remind you, do not go down the rabbit hole of trying to heal anymore, doing any of that shadow work or anything like that. It's been done. You've done the work. Don't go down the rabbit hole of doing any of this. You don't need to do any courses on shadow work or anything like. You don't need to do any of that. This is naturally releasing. Your guides are working with you. This cellular level deep work is being released. It's already working. There's nothing you need to do. If you want to take anything or surround yourself with uplifting things, or how to reintegrate who you are on a new level, with all your aspects together and with all your self-confidence, that's completely different. But don't go down the route of digging deeper to go into healing. You don't need to do any of that. This is already happening. So again, we want to remind you here, please remember, if you're at that stage, I'm getting this very, very firmly, and to articulate this, if you're at that stage where you feel like you're in the tarot moment, and it's popped out of nowhere, I don't know why I'm feeling like this, all of a sudden I was really up, and then all of a sudden all this stuff has come up and I feel like I'm breaking, this too shall pass. You are healing at a very, very deep cellular level. The fact that you're able to heal at this level is really incredible. You will come out of this. You absolutely will. All right, so we have Whispers of Lord Ganesha. Let's get you a couple more cards to end this reading. And remember, just keep breathing and release whatever you no longer need if you're at that stage into the light here, Pal 1. We're absolutely here for you. You are not alone. These are individual readings in many ways. Oh my goodness, the light just went off. That's really interesting. Okay, Pal 1, we're back. So yeah, something happened as we were talking about having protection and being surrounded by light. The lights actually completely, well, one of them went off in the corner in the studio. So yeah, it's back on now. I don't know why everything's working when it wasn't before, but we will take that as you will, any way that you want to, but you're definitely protected. So as we were saying, we are going to choose another card from the Whispers of Lord Ganesha, this oracle card here. I love this deck for some extra wisdom. So let's see what else we have for you here. Cultivation, absolutely. We've been talking about cultivating the new you and how that works and how that will work in 2021. We were talking about protection. You can't make that stuff up. Absolutely, protection. The light showed us that you definitely have protection. And for those of you who are feeling in those moments of coming in and around that deep cellular healing, we want to remind you that coming into that confident mode, you're really going to be, there's a lot of ups and downs in 2020, and that for everyone, obviously, personally, interpersonally, spiritually, everything, all of that. But beyond that, more for you, pal one. So many ups and downs in 2020, and it was about your energy too. Your energy works differently now, being a little bit more exhausted, or having these moments of pure high, and really understanding what that high frequency feels like, and then being pulled down. It felt like a gravitational shift, sort of being pulled all over the place based on how much light you were pouring out and how much light was needed in the world. Now, this is a chance for your energy as you move through these, we're going to call them the tower moment, moving through all of this, that deep cellular healing, and then moving into 2021 with this much more stable, grounded understanding of this hoorah. This is who I am. I'm not going to change for anyone. Now, part of that is like the way in which we have been in and around each other, and what we've seen, and how we heal, and how we stand for ourselves and each other. 2020 has taught us a lot of lessons, but this has also been working for you on a cellular level. So this is a time for balance for you. The way in which you work with in 2021 is going to be a lot more balanced. Your energy is going to be a lot more balanced. There's not going to be a lot of this ups and downs. So if you were feeling like you were coming out on the other side of it, and then all of a sudden you got this real high and then this real low, and then you started to get a little bit worried, please understand that you're protected, and you are coming into the sense of real balance in 2021. And within this balance and this real peaceful, calm kind of nudging of the intuition, you will achieve what it is that you want effortlessly. Yes, empowerment, absolutely. And this is where you'll be getting your empowerment from. The way in which you work in the world, again, less effort, but using that confidence, using that light, not dumbing yourself down anymore in any way, shape, or form. It's a very exciting moment for you. And again, if you're not there yet, please hang on. It is coming. This is not like months and months and months of cellular healing. We're talking about a couple of days. Hang in there. You're going to come in on the other side of this. Now, I've sacred geometry. This one was calling for me today. And for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, I don't really go on about Instagram at all on this page, but I do a Witchy Wednesday every Wednesday, which is a pick a card. We do 4 pick a cards, and then at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I put up the channeled messages. So I will leave my Instagram information down below. If you're interested, follow me there, and then you can get some added support every Wednesday. But I was using this for Witchy Wednesday because I'm recording this on a Wednesday, and these really spoke to me today, and I really wanted to include them again in this reading. So the activations and the sacred geometry. So if any of this, the sacred geometry, numbers, anything is coming up for you, they're just a confirmation that you're exactly where you need to be and coming out on the other side of this, and in a way that you've never done before. Again, a lot of healing's been a lot of ups and downs for you, and especially 2020. Some of you have even had whiplash going back all over the place with holding your ground and holding your light. But it will be different for you in 2021. So we want to remind you of that. So if you are seeing, the 111s or the 444s, 555s, or any of the sacred geometry, just hold on to that. Take note of those messages, look them up. Those are your angels absolutely protecting you and staying close, and letting you know that you're exactly where you need to be. So the tantric journey here for 42, the frequency of the tantric journey helps us to unlock the hidden knowledge and wisdom that we intrinsically hold about how we reach a state of wholeness and completion through our sexual and sensual experiences with ourselves and with another. So this is about, for those of you coming into your own real energy, we've talked about really grounding in and really encompassing your soul exactly as you want to without dumbing yourself down. So there's a myriad of different things that will happen for you. Soulmates coming in 2021, but also the exact, whatever it is that you truly want, that exact version of it coming in before you've played out this, putting out your energy and seeing what comes back, and like a sort sort of variant version of what you really wanted, or you asked for something and you got it and I didn't really want that. This is perfect alignment of what it is that you truly want. The perfect partner, expressing yourself physically and mentally the way that you want to without holding back, knowing that the right people will be in and around you. Again, for those of you not just soulmates but soul family coming in, you might have soul family already scattered around, and you've seen some of these people, not soul family people, they stay, but some other people again fall out of your life. But this is the year that you attract the true protection and being seen for exactly who you are, and people not asking you or not having to dumb yourself down to dim your light for others to shine. So this is a time for you. It's almost like you've been reaching this point where you can just reach out and pluck all of the apples from the tree, but you have been growing all of these seeds all of this time. So it's just a matter of strategically figuring out what it is that you truly want and listening to that intuition and moving when you are called to move instead of firing on all cylinders, right? And expect this beauty and your light to shine. Your energy is going to be different again in 2021. Less effort to get to what you want, attracting the right people who can really provide this beautiful foundation of light and really remind you of true connection in this earth. This is all coming for you in 2021. So in answer to the real question, who will you become in 2021? You will become the version you've always wanted to become in 2021. It's all available for you now. And also, on top of that, what you will achieve in 2021 will also gear you and move you forward in a way that will really have you become so more expansive and who you will become. So we almost can't, to a certain degree and a certain level, we can sort of predict, or we can certainly comment on the person that you will become, but actually you're working to a point where the expansiveness sort of moves beyond what we can describe. So incredible stuff here, Pile One, incredible stuff. We absolutely hope that with the Pleiadian energy and the starseed sources that we channeled today, that we got you some grounding foundational messages and at least some specific ways to move forward and proof that you have protection around you and that you're exactly where you need to be. So if this resonated, feel free to give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. And do not forget, there's so many things uploaded at the end of 2020. So many resources for you that I pulled out of my Unicorn School of Light for you to have for free. So we have the meditations, we have the intuition and the oracle going on. And also on the Unicorn School of Light, there is still a free Beyond Fear. If you need any help and support about dealing with anxiety or depression, and or if you're a sensitive and empath, then the 3-day course might help you. That's Beyond Fear. That's at the Unicorn School of Light. The link is down below. And we still have our magical course, 21 days working with the beauty of the unicorns, getting your magic back up, getting yourself, your badass self back in there, and creating a 21-day course for you to be exactly who you want to be. And your inner child will love it. So that's also in the Unicorn School of Light. That is, I think it's only $33. I kept it really low, but that is the only one that we're charging for at the moment. Everything else is free. All the resources are down below, so never feel like there isn't support and love for you at every stage of this. We are here for you every way we possibly can be. So Pile One, take care. So much love and light to you. Incredible journey, and this is just the beginning because we're only in January in 2021. Take care until we meet again. Bye-bye. Hello, Pile Two. If you chose Pile Two, then signs is what you chose. The universe has been gently nudging you forward by revealing to you your signs, revealing to you signs and synchronicities. So this will be the theme here of your reading. And of course, it's messages from the Pleiadian star system. Who will you become in 2021 for all you beautiful star seeds out there? Do not forget, we have the gentle light here for healing and activation and manifestation and abundance. You can pull that into your life, or anything that you want to release it into the flame. Now we have our tarot here, a couple of tarots, and then we'll be using the Starseed Oracle, of course, and then we have some backup oracles too for extra information. So let's get right into your reading. So we have the moon, which is reversed. And then we have the two of staves, the two of wands here. So let's do this too. I've got a couple of things going on. Fall into my arms, surrender, holding the opposites extremes of life. Okay, so there's a few things. Orion energy, karmic relationships, polarity, soul growth, and conflict. So feel as though from the cards that have been drawn for you, Pal 2, that there's just a few things going on for you as you're clearing out. Now, even though we have individual messages, they're always coming from a collective energy that's going on, and then within each pile, there's much more of a collective, there's much more of a specific energy and specific message for each pile. But we're dealing with collective energy, so it's understandable that there's going to be like a thread through all of these that are exactly the same, even though the energy of them is very different. So you have something in common with pile 1 insofar as there is just a real soul level, like really deep soul level of getting in there and releasing, and that can seem quite uncomfortable. Now, the world is the way the world is. It's very dealing with polarities, dealing with the external versus the internal is something that you've always had to deal with, being an extreme sensitive, being an empath that you are. How to put your energy first, how to protect your energy, how you've worked in the world with having to protect your energy and cutting cords. You've not always cut the cords as soon as you could have. Now that's fine. There's no judgment here. Lots of lessons were learned, but you've always wanted people to be okay. And sometimes you've let those cords stay open when they could have been cut. And boundaries is something that you've been working on. Now you've been working on that and solidifying those boundaries, and those are coming in, and the effects of really solidifying those boundaries are really coming in effect, and that payoff is coming in, pile 2. So please just stay with it. But it feels scary, and it feels sometimes utterly terrifying to cut those cords, because even though you know you need to cut them, and even though you know that those cords don't serve you anymore, there's an aspect of the cutting of the cords that can bring up, for some of you, this is a general reading, if this part doesn't resonate, then stick with us, but cutting those cords sometimes feels like it brings up that abandonment. Some of you have this essence of being abandoned or being neglected in some way, not being seen. Now, part of what you are here to do in this lifetime is to be seen for exactly who you are, and to learn to put your energy forward, almost pushing it in, but not in a bossy way, but putting yourself first, and accepting yourself for truly how you are, and in that, standing in your own energy, teaching others how to do that too. This is why you're here, really learning what vulnerability means and using it as an extreme strength, and again, standing for people who have also been treated in a similar way and teaching them how to do it. Now, physically doing that, teaching them, or doing it through your art or creativity or whatever it is that you do, or, in the medical profession, bringing it in with this beautiful light that you have, or just standing in your energy and being an example will be enough, because your energy really expands and really influences those around you. Now, you absolutely know that. Unfortunately, in the past, the people that it's influenced, people have commented on. So in that way, you also have something in common with pile 1, because you've been accused of being intense or this, that, and or some people just sort of disappear. They're in and around you, and then they sort of like disappear. There's also a mirror. You're definitely a mirror for people. Now, this is something that you absolutely understand about yourself now, but you may not have realized that initially, and then you were very disheartened and worried, didn't know what was going on when people were hot and heavy with you, really hot at the beginning, and then all of a sudden they sort of disappeared. Where are they? It's they're in and around you, they're very attracted to your energy, and then they see the mirror of who they are and they can't handle it and they go off. Now, nobody that you were in and around for the most part was healed enough to be able to see that within themselves. You couldn't sit down and have that conversation with them about, oh, this is what's coming up for me. That's why I've come away, and that's why I've pulled away a little bit. So you're just left with the outskirts of being on the outskirts of everybody's lives, and constantly being treated like that, which again would have brought up the abandonment, or being in a situation where you'll go into a situation and all hell breaks loose and you're the catalyst, right? So either way, it's, you're the one that's left either holding the crap or watching everybody sort of move away. And again, the people that were in and around you were doing their best. They absolutely were, one way or another. We're never here to excuse anything that you had to put up with or any bad behavior. We're not doing that on their behalf, but they were doing all that they could. But they certainly were not at the level where they could sit down and say, I need to heal. This is what's going on. I'm sorry for my behavior. They couldn't own up to any of that. But this is all changing for you in 2021. We absolutely promise you, who you will become in 2021 is not just a better version of yourself, but you will become the light. You will become everything that you wanted to be. And the way in which that you will do that is because there's brand new karma to you. You've been going through, you've had a lot of karma, a lot of heavy karma. Everybody comes in with karma. Everybody comes in with a certain amount of karma. Old souls have just a lot more karma. Now, I don't want to go into karma here because it makes it sound like karma is really, it's very nuanced. It's very complex. We can't sit there and go, you've got 200 karmic things that you need to deal with. You only have 100 and this, that, and the other. It's a lot more complex than that. And I feel like people try to sort of downplay what karma is or really kind of describe what karma is. And often they get it wrong. But, the one thing that we can say is that you came in with a lot of past lives. You came in with a lot of karma. Now, some of it's good and some of it's bad. Now, it played out in a certain way that even in the darkness, there was always some great karma that came in. That one person that kept you afloat, that one check that came, that one situation, that whatever. We've always kept you that way. That's what I'm hearing. We've always kept you at a point where even at your lowest, we were there for that one time. But at the same time, there was a lot of negative karma. There was a lot of this dark, I don't want to say dark or negative, that very specific connotations, but very heavy karma that you came in with. So, and a lot of your past relationships, a lot of the relationships that are now sort of, drizzling away, which is absolutely wonderful for you, were soul contracts from past lives. But they were also hooked into you in a very specific way. They represented something deeper. So for people falling away, it could have triggered some abandonment issues for you, feeling alone, wondering if this darkness will leave, in a much more specific way than it's affecting people in Pile 1. Although if you do feel called to, we always say, would never stop you doing anything that you feel called to, obviously. If you do feel called to, you might get some added information for you, Pile 2, in Pile 1, but only if you feel called to. And some of it might resonate with you, but I would be surprised if all of it resonates with you in Pile 1. But if you want some extra information, hit up Pile 1 at the end of this and see what you think. So, for those of you who are feeling in Pile 2 that everything is just, it's a lot and feel as though you're not getting where you need to be. We want you to know that the help and the protection is there. And these karmic relationships that you're coming in and out of now should be falling away quite effortlessly. Now, if those karmic relationships you're not chasing, you're ready for them to go, but at the same time, they're triggering this kind of real alone sort of depression. I want to be sort of in a little bit of a heap. It sounds a little dark, but if it's triggering that abandonment, what you're doing is, and we can help you with this, what's happening is that the triggering of the abandonment is making you want to protect yourself more. And as you protect yourself more, because that's what you've done in the past, again, no judgment, totally fair enough, you're actually shutting down a little bit and shutting out those who can help you, and those being your guides. Now, the other thing that's happened for you recently is that you can slip into other realms very easily. You've got a lot of shamanistic, catalyst kind of energy, very, very sensitive. You're able to not just feel what people feel when they walk into a room. You can actually go into their bodies and like move around it. I mean, it's like really crazy stuff that you can do. Now, you've always had an inkling that you could do certain parts of it. Some of it might be a little bit more of a surprise for you, but you can slip into other realms And you can, when you talk to your guides, you physically go to that realm and you talk to that guide. I mean, you can be right there. So for you, moving throughout realms, it's not a big deal. So you can do this. You absolutely know that you can do this, and you can do this with ease. This is something that's you've done before. You've been a shaman of sorts before. You've moved in different realms before. You've had lifetimes before in Pal 2. Pal 2, you've had lifetimes before where you didn't really work in reality, quote unquote. You worked in the alchemy stage. You were in you were in a cave and you were working on other realms and changing energy into this, that, and the other. And people who wanted to see you came to you. You didn't move around in the world. This is what you did. So you are used to doing this realm stuff. There's nothing that you can't do there. Now, if you're blocking it out of protection, because this deep soul healing is coming in for you and it's triggering you, then we want you to open up and at least get that protection and know that you're okay. And allow in that energy. We've got the moon, that magic and that energy. Your guides are connected directly to you like everybody else, but your guides are directed to your magic. The guides that you have in this lifetime, you've probably known and worked with. They know your magic intimately and they know who you are and how to work with you. If you're protecting yourself and shutting yourself down to protect yourself from your own magic, you're automatically cutting out those guides who can help you through this. You're actually a lot further on than you think you are. Now, we talked about the Tara moment in Pal 1. This is not the Tara moment for you. This feels like the what is it, the dark night before the day, or whatever, that famous saying, the darkest night before the dawn. And this is what it specifically feels like to you. That's much more of an accurate kind of description of what's going on. But what's really happening is that you are moving beyond polarity. You are moving beyond the essence of right and wrong. You are actually shedding these karmic relationships once and for all, which leaves you free to be the light of who you are in 2021 once and for all. Not only are you shedding these karmic relationships, but there's an essence of this karma that's old, that's now in reprieve. It's done. It's over. So you are actually starting brand new in 2021. You get a brand new karmic makeover in 2021. That's where you are heading. So you just have to hold on. You just have to hold on. Let's see what else we have too. And again, once you open yourself up and allow yourself to be more open here, and just ask for help for your guides will come in and show you what to do. Those nudging, that synchronicity. Again, we talked about in Pal 1, doing a little bit less and listening to those nudges and acting on those nudges instead of like putting out the energy and firing all cylinders and see what comes back. Again, you're being asked very, very specific to listen to your inner resolve, and from there you'll be led down that path. So the path that's right for you. So for those of you who feel lost, for those of you who feel like you're wandering through the darkness or through the desert and wondering where everybody is, you are exactly where you need to be, and the help is right there, and it's not going to last very long. It's all about understanding where your magic comes from. It is connected directly to your guides, to reiterate, that's what we said before. So opening up to your guides and working on this ethereal level. Now, many of you kept that ethereal level. You definitely, most of you, we would say, were aware that you had these gifts working within the realms. There's no way that you couldn't have known. But some of you may have shut it down for protection. Some of you may have been frightened of it, because there's so much power that comes along with it. You might have been frightened of your own power, especially with the way that the world society has treated people like you, and specifically to you. You got the message that maybe it wasn't okay to show your power in that way, right? But that's not the case anymore. And the power that you have is great. There's no two ways about it. But maybe you didn't feel as though you could wield it properly. But you can in this lifetime, and that's what you're getting. So who will you become in 2021? The short answer to that, Pal 2, is a magician. You will come into your magical powers in full blast, and you will have the magician energy. That's who you are becoming. without a doubt in 2021. Now, aspects of all of you are coming together. So whatever is falling away and triggering you, it's just part of the journey of getting rid and shedding this old karmic relationships. Now, remember, any conflict that comes in and around these karmic relationships, be it inner conflict or conflict around you that people drama are bringing in, let it go. They may not want the cords to be cut, or if the cords are being cut and they're just drifting out of your life, but you're cutting them, the inner conflict is with you. You know you need to cut them, but it's triggering you in some way. Just know that this too shall pass, as we said in Pawan. This too shall pass. And once you cut those cords and you heal from them, which will be very, very quick, there's no extra work that you need to do there, then you will be in this capacity, in this shining moment where you have this brand new karma. It is actually very exciting. So please, please listen to your intuition. Please get back to your guides. They will lead you out of this. You don't need to do this alone. Absolutely. Acceptance. Acceptance of your own power, who you are and who you came down to this realm, to this lifetime, to this earth plane to be in this lifetime. This is who you become fully without apologies in 2021. Perseverance. This is something that you've done before. You've been persevering all of this time. So this is the time. It seems hard for those of you who are going through it, and it seems hard. You've put in all of the time and effort. You are so close. You know, the dawn is coming. Trust us, the dawn is coming. Absolutely. Innocence. Absolutely. Sometimes innocence was too much because innocence required a certain amount of openness, and you weren't in a position because of the heaviness that you had before to be in that position, to be that open. So you get the innocence, you get to meld that in with your magic in 2021. You get to wield that magic in the way that you want to, and have that trickster energy, that beautiful energy that you have, using your vulnerability, using your powers, using your beauty in any way that you want. And of course that way will be of the light, because you've been working toward that your entire life. You absolutely know what it's like to work in the darkness. You've seen what it's like to be on the other side when people presume darkness upon others. You know what that's like. You wouldn't do that to anyone. So here we go. And of course, with great power comes great responsibility. You can wield that responsibility now without doubting yourself. That acceptance will be there for you. So fertility, absolutely. The frequency of fertility invites you to be more open, we said that, and more courageous, more creative, and more joyful than you were before. It activates the potential for something beautiful to grow from our consciousness into a new and grander expression of ourselves. Now, I don't completely agree with this, really, because you have a vast amount of courage. The carefulness that you had before, you needed to wield that careful. You're used to doing things sort of in the background, and as we said before, in lifetimes before, people came to see you. And if you did go somewhere, it was like a pilgrimage. You had a lot of people around you. So it's really, you have a lot of, you are very courageous. It's not really that, it's just the way you've wielded it. But yeah, the fertility comes from being more open, and the creativity comes from the more joy and being lighter, and activating, yes, the potential for something beautiful to grow from our consciousness into a new and grander expression of ourselves. So, the fertility, rightness, for some of you, these are general readings. For some of you, it may mean real fertility, having that child. Whether that's physically or bringing in a beautiful child that already exists and claiming them as your own, which of course is a gorgeous thing to do. Well, it's all gorgeous, but that is absolutely beautiful. That holds so much in my heart, because there's so many kids that need help in this world, or whether that's a creative project, however you see fertility on that basic, beautiful form. But again, that all comes together with opening up to your magic, opening up to your guides, understanding that is where your power truly lies, becoming that magician, that beautiful power wielded in the way to help others in this lifetime. And remember, this too shall pass. Listening and opening yourself up to your guides will mean that if you're feeling lost or wandering through that desert image that keeps coming up, it's just the synchronicities and the nudging will come to you. You will be shown the next path. Sometimes all you need to do is a tiny little baby step, and the rest of it falls into place. So the magician, claiming your power. We hope in this reading that we've given you like a specific way, specific ideas and ideals of how to claim and wield your power, and how to move with it, and at least given you hope that if you're feeling this darkness, it's about to move away. Remember, you're moving into this karmic balance where it's brand new. You get to make your own karma now instead of living out old karma or karmic events from other lifetimes. But all of this wisdom and all this beauty and all this magic has come in from other lifetimes too. So that fully integrating and seeing you at full power will be beautiful in this lifetime. So go be you. Go be that magician. Remember to open up and work with your guides. Go with those realms. You're protected when you do that now. Some of you some of you have worked in other realms and sometimes have slipped into darkness and this, that, and the other, as you were working with this energy in this lifetime. But that's not going to happen to you now. You know how to work that. You've done enough work to know the difference between light and dark. You can trust yourself now. You're also protected, not to worry about it. So you can really open up to that power, really go in and pull in that full strength of light. So that's going to be available for you in 2021. You're coming in and around this energy now. Even if this resonated with you, Pal 2, you might be at different stages. So again, if you're in that little bit of darkness, coming out of that old karma, remember the new karma is coming in, wiping this slate clean, ready for you to come into this fertility period. You're right there. You're absolutely right there. So just hang on. So if this resonated with you, feel free to give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below. And of course, subscribe and hit that bell icon if you're not part of Unicorn Light Tarot yet. We would love to have you. And also don't forget, we've got many different things going on for you to be in and around some more supportive energy. We have all of our, I uploaded them, I took them out of the school and put them down for you for free. So Intuition and the Oracle, working with your intuition, a 5-day course. We also have beautiful meditations for you, chakra meditations. You don't have to do the whole series. You don't have to do anything you don't want, obviously, but if just one of the chakras calls out to you and says, I want to go there, do that too. And also we do have the Unicorn School of Light, and we still have Beyond Fear for anxiety and any kind of darkness that you're feeling in and around you. It's a 3-day course. Hopefully it'll give you some support. That's what it's there for. It's completely free. Feel free to go onto the Unicorn School of Light to do that. And we also have our 21-day program, of course, of working with the unicorns and getting that magic back. So many different ways to work with this energy and work with support and light. So we're sending you so much love and light, Pile 2, you magicians, you. Until we meet again, stay safe and sane. Bye-bye. Hello, Pile 3. If this is your pile, you chose reflection. So underneath it, it says, see all aspects of yourself through the reflection of the one who mirrors your hidden self. So as we said in the other piles, it's always drawing from collective energy. So it's kind of obvious that the piles will have something in common, and we definitely see that in pile 1, 2, and 3, and coming into yourself. And also we are getting messages from the Pleiadian star system of who you will become in 2021. So of course it's about star seeds and becoming yourself and becoming light. So this is reflection is the theme of where we will be going. And don't forget, we have the extra light here and the extra healing. Any cords or anything you want to release into the flame or bring in abundance, healing, and manifestation to you. We have our tarot cards, and then we will be working with the Starseed Oracle, and then we have some other oracles bringing in. So let's get into your reading from the Pleiadian star system. Princess of Pentacles, love that, and the Ace of Swords. Love that. The energy. So again, coming into balance of masculine and feminine. So this is something that you have been actively, and sometimes for some of you, radioactively working on this idea and this understanding of balance. So it's no longer an idea, and moving into the soul and being able to create that sort of in your everyday life, this balance. You have prone to sort of ups and downs, and stepping into moments, and not really necessarily moments, well, moments definitely, but setting, sort of stepping into months of, what just happened there, that sort of thing. But we're moving out of that now and much more into a stable environment, and there's many different reasons why that's happening. And one of the reasons is, again, you have this in common with pile 1 and pile 2, although the energy of this pile is very different, is that you're putting your energy first, and you're not trying to fit in to the world and fit into situations, or going for things that you think you quote unquote need or should be doing. You're actually going to step into a point of sort of principle in 2021 where you go for exactly what you want. Now, on paper, what you want may not even seem obtainable, and it may not be, your masculine brain might be, or your ego might be like, you can't get that, or that's crazy, that's not realistic, or that's not rational. But it's what you want. And the thing is that you came here for a reason. You know what that reason is. And if you've had this dream from a really young age, you're here to achieve it, because there's no way that you won't be able to achieve it. If you still have that dream, as a kid, we have these dreams. We grow out of them. We want to be this. We want to be an astronaut. We want to be that. Maybe the astronaut turns out to be like a shaman. You go in different realms. Maybe you veer off and you go in a different direction. And sometimes it's totally different, completely, But for you, you've known what you've wanted your entire life, and you're here to achieve it. It's just a matter of when, it's a matter of how. So the way in which you work in the world, as it was sort of zigzaggy before, you may have been very specific about what you wanted, but we're going to do a little real talk here, pile 3. You didn't always, go for what you wanted. And sometimes you just, go for the finish line, and you step back just a little bit. You might be afraid, or had a little bit of fear of success, or maybe you sensed the timing wasn't right, or maybe there was just sort of these other things that were instilled in you that you didn't believe at all, but you would have picked up in and around the way in which you were brought up. Society definitely reflects that back, about being very practical about what you think you can achieve. You were born at this time, within this time frame, you went to this school, you can only achieve this, that, and the other. Don't be silly. That's not going to be you. So your whole situation, your whole life has been about really proving everybody wrong, and you don't do it as a kind of thing, but you've consistently proved people wrong. And not only that, but you've worked out these systems of control, let's just say that they are, because to a certain degree they've never controlled you, but they've certainly influenced you to not reach as high as you've wanted. Now, none of this is wrong. None of this is bad at all. It's never really held you back. So there's no judgment here. But it's never actually really held you back, because there's an essence to your life that's timing, divine timing. And you've known that. There's also a lot, you have that in common with pile 2. You have an old soul. So there was a lot for you to work out. And you're really here to come to terms with, the earthly societal norms and how they don't work. Now, you innately known from the very beginning as a small child that they didn't work for you, but you found ways in your life to avoid them. Sometimes you got angry at them, and sometimes you absolutely attacked them one way or another. I totally understand that, but it hasn't always worked out for you. You still sort of had that isolation or that non-connection. But really, at the end of the day, you always knew that you weren't of this world. You're part of it, but you're not of it necessarily. So there's a divine timing aspect where you can bring in who it is that you are and break down all those social norms that you never believed in anyway. And as they're broken down and gone for good, then you can live the life that you've wanted to without fear of repercussions, without the negative impulses that you had to protect yourself as you kind of grew up the ladder, or moved up the ladder. Who's coming for me? What's going to go on? Because deep down you knew that you were told one way or another that people like you didn't make it because you had to play the game. You have to do this. You have to be part of the patriarchy. You got to do this. You got to do that. You've never done that. You were never going to do that. So how could you make it, right? But the divine timing, the way the world is shifting, you can do things now completely on your own terms in a way that it wasn't necessarily completely possible before. So an element of who you are in 2021 is divine timing. You're here now. The world has shifted. We know that. The reflection of yourself now, you can bring up all of those hidden parts, as we've seen in Paul 2 also. You can bring up all those hidden parts of yourself that you've already worked on. They were shadowed, but they've come into the light. Integrate them fully and stand in your own full power. But what you're going to do is that you're actually going to navigate this world on your own terms, totally and completely, without, again, any fear of repercussions. And this is, you're not going to be doing the dance anymore. You're not going to be doing the dance, and it's funny because you're very clear about what it is that you want. You really are very clear. And for some of you, it's a general read. Some of you are quite clear about how to get there. But there's only a certain amount that you're willing to do. But I'm going to put out a certain example of what you would do. And let me know if this is what you feel. You would be like, talk to the universe, I want X, Y, and Z, this, that, and the other. And you're very clear about what you want to do. And deep down, you knew that you were talented enough, or that you could get this and you could handle. You may not have felt that you could handle it necessarily, but you'll get there. But you weren't asking the universe for something that you weren't able to do. You were talented enough to get the results that you wanted, right? So you were very clear on what you wanted. You spoke to the universe, and then the next day, you'll turn around and you'll take a job that absolutely does not support that what one way or another, just absolutely doesn't. Literally the opposite of what you just said. All right, universe, I want X, Y, and Z. I know what I want. Super clear, super clear. The universe goes, all right, look at this one. She knows what she wants. She's talented enough. And then you go off and do something completely sort of like, all right, because I feel like I need to compromise at this point. You put everything out on the table with the universe, and your next line of defense was compromise. How can I compromise? And the justifications, I need to do this, I need to make, of course you need to make rain. Of course you need to put food on the table. Of course, all of that. We're not arguing with any of that. Absolutely. But that's the way that you would talk to yourself, and that's the way that you would move. So being very clear and having a clear vision without clear action only took you so far. So you get the clear vision, you get the clear action in 2021, and you get to play the game on your own terms without dancing around. Now, you didn't necessarily feel like you wanted to do any of these jobs or the next stage of the game that you really wanted to. It was a sense of compromise because you felt like in order to get somewhere, you did have to play the game a little bit. Or if you didn't want to play the game, there's something you needed to do. There was a justification of it. We don't need to go into the where and the whys. It doesn't really matter. It's already happened and it's past. The whole point is that you're not doing that anymore. You're playing the game on your own terms. The divine timing is coming in to support that. The game's been played. The game is really old. The game isn't working anymore. This is your time to snatch up this opportunity and get what you want, doing it the way that you want without any compromises. Your life is a canvas. Artist, manifestation, creative accountability. We just talked about that, creative accountability. You knew exactly what you wanted, but you didn't take the accountability necessarily for it. You went off and did what you think you needed to do. There was an essence of compromise that always layered or factored in to your decisions before. And again, no judgment, totally understand. Light bill needs to be paid. You need food. You've got to get those rice cakes from Trader Joe's. Totally get it. Understandable. Done it myself. But now is the time to not do that. This is a time for no compromises whatsoever. This is about action with manifestation and knowing that the balance is there. The reflection out now, when the world reflects, it actually reflects who you are. When you looked into the mirror before and you saw a reflection, you saw society, you saw the patriarchy, you saw compromise, you saw all sorts of things. That no longer exists for you. When you look in the mirror, you see you. You see the totality of you now. So you can make all your dreams happen. You got the love, codependency, and boundaries. And that's other things that you needed to do too. This idea of, and these are general messages. If this part is not for you, then move swiftly on. But for some of you, there was this notion that in order to be loved, you had to prove yourself. And you did this with the universe. So that's one of the reasons for some of you, when you were very clear on this true path, this is what I want, I know I can do it, I know I can get it, I know I'm talented enough to get it, and then you turn around and do something else sort of to compromise that. And justify it. It's because you had to prove, you felt like you needed to prove, I'm willing to do this now, I'm willing to compromise, I'm willing to step up and do this one thing that I don't want to do to prove to you that I really want it. And the universe is like, that's really sweet, my love. You don't need to do that. So realizing this, realizing your boundaries, realizing that when you look in the mirror, what you need to do is just be you. There's no sense of compromises anymore. Coming out of this energy and really standing on your own is what you get in 2021. So your messages from the Pleiadian star system, who will you become in 2021? The answer is you will become the future. Really, you will become, I mean, in that essence, we can say that you will become your best self, but that's a little woo-woo, right? What the hell does that mean? Well, we've explained a little bit of that, what that will mean, but really at the end of the day, you become the future. As the world shifts, you will be a representative of that new energy and how to get what you want without paying the game. The game is gone. The game's been played. Honestly, nobody won. We wasted our time playing that game, but that's okay. Nobody cares. We learned a lot of lessons, and from those lessons, we can grow in this light and move forward. So you become the reflection of the new earth, of the new way of being. In this balanced sense of masculine and feminine, and getting exactly what you want, again, without any compromises whatsoever. This is a new way of being in the world for you. For those of you who are creative, for those of you who are artists, or for those of you who felt like you were, but maybe had it on the sidelines and you didn't count yourself as an artist. This is you stepping into your life in 2021. If you're doing anything artsy that you didn't consider that could be your full-time job, this is absolutely something that you can do. You're incredibly talented at it, and if you're doing it as a side hustle, it could be your main event in 2021. Now that's up to you whether you want to do that. I've taken many things as a side hustle and done it full-time, and then I've been very disappointed. I've never wanted to do it again. So we're not pushing you into this. You've got to get into that heartfelt center and find out for yourself if this really is. And if this side hustle is something that you really could make into something else. You're definitely talented enough. What you do with it is up to you. But the main stretch of what we're saying is that whatever laid hidden or whatever you didn't give, whatever it was secondary to you in the arts and crafts or any kind of creative measure could become something that's bumped up from what it was into something that becomes very much you, and then turns into something absolutely beautiful. So that's part of who you are. And for those who are very clear on their vision of the type of artist and creativity that you're doing, or if you're not a creative type but you have an essence of how you want to integrate that into what you do, that will be forefront in 2021 and take off in beautiful and slightly unexpected ways. So, allow yourself that step back to see where it comes from. People will come to you and ask to work with you. That's going to be, this is not a year of pushing. This is a year of being in balance and reflecting the new earth. The rest of it will come to you. You've pushed, you've done everything, you've overdone everything. You've done for every part of work that everybody's ever done, you've done that and then tenfold extra. That's the person that you are. You've worked hard your entire life at everything. There's nothing that you've not done well. We're asking you to step back a little bit and not put so much effort into it. Allow everything coming back into you because you now hold the reflection of the future. So we have openness, absolutely, but this is a new level of openness. We actually have the Whispers of the Lord of Ganesha oracle coming in here. This openness is completely different. This is a new level. Again, you're working with the reflection of a brand new earth. So you're working with the reflection of not just something brand new, but the purest of the light. Now, I'm not crazy about the word purity because it's been used to really weird ways, but the way in which, so we won't use it, but the reflection of this light that's coming in, of sort of the ancient, the wisdom that's coming back in, and the way in which we move, whatever was sort of dumbed down before, like vulnerability, emotion, emotionality, this, that, and the other, will be coming in forefront, be seen as strengths. You hold all of that. You've been working on the sideline your entire life to perfect all of how you work with the emotionality, how you work with vulnerability, how you work with all of this. So this is your time to rise up on your own. And again, the game is gone. It's over. It's been played. Nobody won. So now this is a new game, and you're the leader of that, because you've been preparing for this on this realm, on this earthly realm, your entire life. Yeah, not all the time people have thanked you for it. Not all the time you've been recognized. Not all the time you've been seen for who you are. Not all the time, people have respected what you're doing. But now they will. Now they will. You could have been a complete mystery to a lot of people. But now whoever you are and what you've done will make sense. Will make sense. Absolutely. Innocence. I think we got this in Paul too. With all that heaviness and all this sort of playing the game, it takes a lot out of you, right? Looking in that mirror and seeing only a part of you, not being completely happy with who you are, because you're playing this game that you don't believe in. So the lightness is there. The innocence gets to come back and get integrated. Your inner child gets to get out there and play. That joyfulness, you get to breathe again. Absolutely breathe again. And again, on a very specific level, the way in which you actually breathe may be different. On a very practical level, you could have had very shallow breaths. We could have said before Pal 3 that if it wasn't involuntary, you wouldn't breathe. Good thing your body physically took care of it. Otherwise, you would have died. The way in which you breathe, short, shallow breath. But you can feel that now, that relationship with your breath, cleansing and clearing, slowing down, that lightness. You absolutely and completely feel that connection with your breath in a brand new way for the first time. And that's what you're getting back. So remember, who are you becoming in 2001? You're becoming the future. You are the future. So we also have these activation sacred geometry cards. We're going to finish off your reading with this. Again, this is a general reading. This may not be for everyone, but I'm also getting the message that in 2021, soulmates are coming in for some of you. And it will be in and around as you move into this new energy and put yourself out there in a brand new way. You'll be connected into new circles, and that's where your mate will be. And for some of you who are already with somebody, the level of intimacy and the level of connection will grow in 2021 beyond. And that could be an extension of the family, having a baby, however physically, or bringing in another child, growing your family in some way, that level of connection. Or it could be a connection between you and your partner. But something is definitely binding and elevating in that relationship. And again, if you're not in one, then that will be coming your way. But it will be in and around, you put yourself out there first. It'll be in and around the connections, the new connections that you'll make, which will be very exciting, by the way. Yes, absolutely. Look at this, Paul 3. 34, passion. The frequency of passion reminds us that beneath every intense emotion lies the hidden gem of insight, balance, and calm. Excuse me, let me just check in here. Yep, just checking in. Balance and calm. It assists us in finding the balance within this intensity, moving us from chaos to the calm of its core. Where we can, let its long-lasting wisdom fill us up. Yes, absolutely. Everything. I just realized I had chocolate cake on my hand the entire time. That's amazing. Anyway, back to passion. So yeah, that passion that you had before, you've always had a lot of passion, that action, but sometimes that passion got translated into anger and frustration. Being able to come back into that beautiful sense of raw passion and be able to wield over it like Thor. I just got this like really beautiful, like, Thor with the hammer, being able to the god over your own world, the god over your own universe, like masterful, again, not playing the game, playing this new game of which you are a part of because you've been preparing for this your entire life. So getting back into that frequency of passion, pulling it back from anger, and sometimes self-hatred, or sometimes frustration. Because that passion has sort of gone into that ball, and has taken on many faces throughout your life. But taking that responsibility back, pulling that back right into you, and translating it back, all you alchemists out there, at that baseline of anger, and pulling it back into its purest form of passion, which of course is where it grew from, and not having to deal with that frustration anymore, and moving out of the anger and all of that complexity that the frustration would have caused you, into this calm knowingness of knowing that this is who you are, and you're not dumbing yourself down anymore to create this world that you want. You get to create the world that you've always wanted to see. You will be able to see it and connect to it physically in 2021. You've been waiting, don't want to be dramatic, but we could say that you've been waiting for this your entire life. It's almost like you've been working toward this, and you've seen lights. It's almost like a brick wall, and then every now and again a piece of one of the bricks comes out, and you see the light coming through. So you haven't been in complete darkness this entire time. You've had these lights, and as these lights came through, they were really profound for you, and these lights were able to keep you in who you were, and move you forward to pull out the next brick. But now the wall is gone. Again, the reflection of the future, you are the future, is an extremely important time for you to step back and to really appreciate and celebrate who you are. You've worked very hard to get to this point, and to have this openness and this calmness and this innocence and this sense of balance, and not always hurrying or feel as though you need to make a decision contrary to what you want. To really be in alignment completely and let go of that control. And some of the situations you put yourself in, out of protection, you needed to control. Again, no judgment, but not needing to have to do any of that anymore. It's an extremely exciting time for you. So that's what we have for you, Pile 3. Go out there and get your life. If this resonated with you, feel free to give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below. And of course, hit that bell icon and subscribe if you're not already a part of Unicorn Light Tarot. We'd love to have you. And as always, we have other things going on. Just took out a bunch of stuff from the Unicorn School of Light. So we have chakra meditations, activations, and healings down below for completely free. If any of those chakras or all of them call to you, go ahead and use those at will. And then we have our intuition and the oracle course, 5-day video course I pulled out of the Unicorn School of Light for you to take for free. And in the Unicorn School of Light, we still have our Beyond Fear, our freedom course. It's completely free. It's 3 days. So if you're sensitive, you feel like you need a little bit support for feeling sensitive or having anxiety or depression, we're hoping that will help. 3 days completely free. And of course, we have Working with Our Unicorns, our only paid course at this point, 21 days, getting your magic back with those unicorns. It promises to change your life. It's a really, really fun course. So those two last courses, the two latter courses I just mentioned, are at the Unicorn School of Light. But all of the links will be down below. Like we said, there's many different ways to get the support and the love that you need at the price, most of them, if not all of them, 80% for free. Trying to get you everything we can for free so you get the support that you need. All right, Pile 3, very excited for you. We're going to sign off here with the Pleiadian star system, but they're always with you, and you know that anyway. So until we meet again, stay safe and sane. Bye-bye.